Okay, we will have a roll call first. First one, 伊万 I never see him. 啊，他退学了。哦哟，好吧，那我标注一下。任黛西。
到。
OK。yeah，胡碧林、拜亚、桑托斯。桑托斯 ，Are you there？来，桑托斯，我也从来没见过这个人。桑托斯也可能是休学了。纳泽，Where is 纳泽 ？Maybe she forgot this afternoon's class. 陈子龙，
你好，老师。
卓拉利，
在老师。
刘星辰，王聪，Are you there？ 王聪 ，No。李帅，No。陈静荣，
老师我在。陈静荣在。
穆阿蒙，陈秀婷，Yeah，OK， good。宇轩在 ，Yeah。陈宇轩，
到。
然后是陆建华 ，Are you there？ 陆建华 ，No。于曼辉，肖恩，于曼辉 ，I say， 肖恩。
于曼辉 yes 老师。
Yeah，I see you。那个肖恩。
Yes 老师。
李艳，Yeah，I see him. Okay, this is the last class of our course, and I think it is also the last week for all your course, right? Yeah. Yeah, because each part we have 6 weeks, so this morning we added 1 week. One course, one class, sorry. Do you want to share right now or next or the second class? Second. Okay, yes. In this morning, we mentioned about the establishment of the Communist Party of China. Today, the Communist Party of China is leading the whole China. Is 中国共产党 中国共产党 So here is about how did the CCP is established. How did the CCP establish? The first National Congress of the CCP was held on July 23rd in 1921. 1921. And the conference mainly discussed some issues as follows. The first one is about the party's basic tasks. The second is the party's organizational principles and organizational structure. The third elected the Central Bureau for the party's leading body. And next is about adopting the first program of the Communist Party of China. And excepting for these issues, according to this conference, other things were also decided, such as the program stipulates that the official name The official name is the Communist of China. Is abbreviated to CCP or CCP. Yeah, but I think maybe we used to take the CCP for the abbreviation. Abbreviation. And according to the conference, the goal of the party was also decided. The goal of the party is to overthrow the bourgeois political power, eliminate the private ownership of the capitalists, and establish the role of the proletariat. In another word, the mainly represents most common people, including farmers, workers, and so on, and so on. 对对，无产阶级，对无产阶级，无产阶级是的，是无产阶级。不是吧，是资产阶级，官僚资本主义。官僚资本主义。就接近于大资本主义吧。我觉得跟这个 capitalist 是吧？这个the medium 不是吧？是 I think right.
It's a French word. It means bourgeoisie. Sorry, it means bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie.
Okay.
It means the ruler of abundance.
Oh. 就上层阶级。
So it's almost like a capitalist.
Yeah. French. French. Yes. So this is about the establishment. This is the part of China. But before CCP, there was another very powerful party was also established. Its name is GMP, 国民党 and you can also it's a nationalist party. So here is about some major difference between two big political parties. The first one is the nationalist party, also known as GMP or KMP, 国民党 KMP was established by 宋教仁 in 1912. But 宋教仁 was killed by 袁世凯. By 袁世凯. And then 袁世凯dissolved the nationalist party until 1919. 孙延盛 this one, this person, 孙延盛 re-established 国民党 in 1919. And after the death of Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek here, the middle image, the middle picture is about the youth Chiang Kai-shek. 蒋介石 became the military leader. Because the military leader, also the leader, nationalism. Nationalism. And the Communist Party was established in 1921 we just mentioned. And Mao Zedong, here, the third picture, the third image is about the youth Mao Zedong. He was one of its founding members. I think very famous members of most of them, not only in China, also in abroad. Also, and today, if you go to Beijing Tiananmen Square, do you know Tiananmen? Tiananmen Square, you will see a huge image about Mao Zedong in the gate of Tiananmen Square. Tiananmen. Here is about a brief introduction about the chairman. He later became the CCP and head of state of the People's Republic of China. In other words, he led Chinese people to build new China. The name of new China is the People's Republic. It is different from Republican China. Republican China was established by Sun Yat-sen. But Chairman Mao established the People's Republic of China. It is still used today. Okay. And Mao, our different origins, was one of the founders of the CCP. In the following study, we will still learn more about Chairman Mao. How did he become a leader? CCP and to enter another role, how to save China, how to save China. About the introduction of Chiang Kai-shek, you can have a look about his experience. In 1923, Chiang Kai-shek, as one of Sun Yat-sen's partner from Tongmenghui days, was sent to Moscow. In 1923, he was sent to Moscow for several months, military and political study there. And and in Zhejiang, there is very famous place named West Lake, West Lake. He was born in Zhejiang province in 1887. And from his childhood, he began to study to learn Confucianism. You know Confucianism? Confucian, 孔子儒学儒学。And from 1907 to 1911, he studied the military. In Japan. And during the revolution of 1911, the revolution of 1911 was launched by Sun Yat-sen, also known as Wuchang Uprising. Wuchang uprising, because it was broke out in Wuchang. The topic is 1911, so it is also called the revolution. He returned China during the revolution of 1911, and then he became a follower of Sun Yat-sen, also a partner. After Chiang Kai-shek returned in late 1923 from Moscow, because he was also sent to Moscow for several months studies. He participated in the establishment of the Wangpu Military Academy outside 广州应聘黄埔军校。Very famous military school at that time. Uh, 校长我倒是记不清可能好像是吧，好像是校长，对，但是他组织参与建设了这个，就是建设，但是他是不是校长，我还真弄不清了啊。These two pictures about the Wangpu Military Academy. Knowledge of military from Japan. So his return participated in the establishment of this military school. And in this school, they trained several famous generals and soldiers. You know about Zhou Enlai. Do you know Zhou Enlai? The first premier, 总理 the premier 总理 premier I mean 不是吗？我minister the first prime minister 周恩来he also graduated from this school also studied in Boston. Soviet Union, Soviet Union. At that time, the Russia is called the Soviet Union. Oh, yeah, we will learn in the following steps how to accomplish some actions. Yes, and 邓小平讲过什么？没错没错，对，应该我不是同学，他们也。In 1924, Chiang Kai-shek became head of this military academy and began the rise to famous prominence that would make him Sun's successor as a head of 国民党 国民党 and the unifier of all China under the right-wing nationalist government because at the next divided into two. One is right wing, another is left wing. Because the influence and he controls many powers. So from 1937, but almost for 10 years, the China was unified under the 国民党 under the 国民党 because Chiang Kai-shek is the leader of 国民党 became the leader of 国民党 and during that time some of harsh effects of foreign confliction created in China were moderated through diplomacy. You can understand it as through Chiang Kai-shek's efforts. At the same time, the CCP was also rising at that time. So the legal in China, the great event is about the fighting between Chiang Kai-shek and the CCP. And in other words, the fighting between the GMP, between the Nationalist Party and the Communist Party. Communist Party. Mao Zedong, he became a Marxist at the time of the emergence of the main thought movement. In this morning, I will learn big thought. In 1919, during the First World War. And Mao Zedong, he had boundless faith in the revolutionary potential of peace century. Peace century. He thought the peace century was very important in the revolutionary. So he advocated that revolution in China to the focus on peace century rather than authoritarianism as prescribed by the Marxist Leninist theoreticians. So this is also the different point between Mao Zedong thought, Chairman Mao thought, and Marxist Lenin. In 1927, Chairman Mao Zedong it was also called autumn harvest unwinding, but at last this unwinding was failed. However, Chairman Mao still continued to work among the peasants of Hunan province because he was born in Hunan province. So Hunan is his hometown. His hometown. So he first launched the uprising in his hometown. And in Shanghai, he began establishing peasant-based Soviet along the border between Hunan and Jiangxi province. And in collaboration with military commander, this person, his name is Zhu De. Zhu De, Chairman Mao turned the local peasants into a politicized guerrilla force. Do you know guerrilla? Yeah. To communicate, peasants and the army raised 10,000 troops. In another word, the power of Chairman Mao began to become stronger and stronger, stronger and stronger. So Mao's prestige rose steadily after the failure of Comintern-directed urban insurrections. In late 1931, he proclaimed to establish Soviet under his direct leading. Under his direct leading in Ruijin, Jiangxi province. Jiangxi province. Here it's about the site of establishment of Chinese Soviet Republic. In the struggle for increasing his power, chairman power. Sorry.它是可以有免费延长1个小时的，对吧？in the struggle for increasing his power, chairman power, and the chairman was objected by Chiang Kai-shek because Chiang Kai-shek he also wanted to build a regime for how to say for company over the China for company the whole China. Especially in the early 1930s, aimed to continue the political bureau opposition to his military needs. Here in policy, the technique, annihilation. You know annihilation? I think maybe killing. Yeah. And campaigns being waged against Red Army by Chiang Kai-shek's forces. At the same time, Mao's control of the Chinese Communist movement increased. So brought another very great event in Chinese history, named as Long March of Red Army. Long March of 红军长征。红军长征。Because this Red Army, led by Mao, they executed along many provinces, to fight with the military of Chiang Kai-shek. This campaign began in October 1934. In 1934. And forced to execute their camps and homes. Communist soldiers and government and party leaders and functionaries numbering about 100,000 people, including 35 women. The sponsors of high leaders, they set out on a circuitous retreat of some 12,000 through 18 months bridges and 24 rivers in southwest and northwest China to escape the treatment from the Chiang Kai-shek military. Because Chiang Kai-shek was afraid of writing of CCP. If the CCP became stronger, which was a threat, for the ruling of Chiang Kai-shek, or Chiang Kai-shek. However, during this long march of Red Army, Chairman Mao gained unchallenged command of the brigade. He got a lot of respect, got a lot of prestige from this stronger army named Red Army. As a final destination, Chairman Mao selected southern Shanxi province. Where some 8,000 survivors of the original group from Jiangxi arrived. So the business is that in Shanxi province. Shanxi is the final destination of the long march of Red Army. Yan'an, you can see here, Yan'an is here, and this is Ruijin in Jiangxi, Jiangxi. So this is this road is about one war just by foot, just by their faith, because they had no advanced how to say cars. Yes, transportation. They have no advanced transportation, and they had also no advanced weapons. Which is in the struggling, with the Changshan, they made rely on the guerrilla, guerrilla ways, guerrilla wars to fight, to fight. After the long march of battle, in Chinese history, there was another very great event about the war of resistance against Japan.
老师你好。
The first war between China and Japan was broke out in 1894 to 1895. 1895. Because Japan needed to save resources China from China. So it's launched the first war in 19th century. But in the 20th century, Japan's ambition was growing, and China was still its main target of aggression. At first, Japan initiated the seizure of the three northeastern provinces in September 1931. Here, northeastern province three northeastern provinces here, 东北 including Liaoning province, Jilin province, and Heilongjiang province. Problem with this conference, and now is about is about Yu Xuan's presentation for Zhou Dynasty. Welcome. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I move on to talk about the historical background of the Zhou dynasty. Now, it was actually a royal dynasty that began in 104 BC to 256 BC. It followed the Shang dynasty, and then it lasted for a period of 786 years. The Zhou dynasty was the longest dynasty or the longest regime in Chinese history. It was the longest. And then it has a military control in ancient China because it has the background of the royal dynasty or the royal family, controlled by Qi, who was the head of the royal dynasty. Now, politically, it has certain fears, and it created a very wide influence. Because of that, it has segments as a dynasty. Because of the expansions, the wars of expansions that it was able to have. We had, from there, we had the western, the eastern part, and then the other sections that I'll be talking about in my next slide. Now, what is so special about the Zhou dynasty? what makes it special is that it was the third, according to history, or either the second or the third dynasty in Chinese history that lasted for a very long period. It was one of its main contribution to Chinese history was that it was able to bring in a new system of governance, which was instituted by the king called the King Wu. Then he was the dynasty's first king. The idea of this decentralized system was to give land to many different nobles, stabilizing the kingdom and making it very easier to govern. So when he came in, he realized that in order for China to have a very wide range of power shouldn't be situated in one place. So it was shared among so many provinces to expand it, so that you have many provinces ruled by different people, for them to have their own military regime and everything, for them to have an establishment. And that's, in modern times, it's called feudalism. Okay, so feudalism is that system where people are given ranks, or they are given lands to farm, to work, in order to have independence and to have their own military, their own systems, and to be powerful on their own. Now, as I said, because of the expansion, you have periodic divisions of the Zhou dynasty. Now, this is the periods that captured in the work. We have the Western Zhou, the Eastern, and then the Spring and Autumn period, and then the warring sections or the warring periods of the Zhou dynasty. And I'll try and then explain a little bit of all these divisions. One, the Eastern and then the Western part. Like most of the dynasties that we have, it was divided into two periods, the Western and then the Eastern. At the end of the Western dynasty, a tribe of nomadic peoples invaded the capital, which killed the king, named Yuan. Because of this, the Zhou dynasty moved from its capital to Lung. Now, in this very period, the Western and the Eastern period, there was so much war, or there was so much, if you like, scrabble for power in the land. So the king was killed, and then from that period to a new dynasty came out, and that brought about the Eastern one. And then the conquest of that one also brought the dynasty down at a particular point. So that is the explanation of the Eastern and then the Western. Now we have the Spring and then Autumn period. In this period too, it was characterized by defense. The Zhou dynasty began to cover their territory. So they began to listen to the emperor, as it were, then to protect their land, to protect their resources and everything that they had. So they made sure that every war, every battle that they went, they listened to what the king had to tell them, and they listened to the instructions from the king. And that's why we had the Spring and then the Autumn period. Now, one good thing, or one significant issue about the Spring and the Autumn period is that it was able to define ancient China in terms of its size of military, because they by then had horses, and then horse riding was introduced. It has weapons that they used to go to war, and then it was able to show their military prowess and then their military skills. Now, we also, from there, we had the warring states. Now, the warring states, again, also, in this period too, it was not so much of listening to the emperor. Now, every state began to go in a fight or in a battle for their own interest. So if they realized that there was a particular mineral or particular resources here that they were supposed to go, they had the freedom to go fight on their own, and then come back to ancient China and then have their rewards, as it were. This lasted for a period of about almost 2,000 years. Then, sorry. Oh, what did I do? Okay, all right. Sorry, I get it now. So I got to, yes, the warring states. And then we look at, as I said, the feudal states that was created, expanding, giving power to other states, other provinces. What were the advantages or the disadvantages of it? Now, one thing about it is that although the system had many benefits, it had some downsides or some negatives, which caused the collapse of the dynasty. Over the centuries, the dynasty was ruled by a long history. The nobles became more and more powerful, slowly building sizable, armies. The first batch of nobles who were given the land by the king of Zhou might have had qualms fighting him. The descendants of those nobles also were not as loyal as it is. This gradually led to spring and then autumn. So one thing is that even though they were able to expand, but within them, there was some kind of a civil disagreement. So one, province did not approve of a particular regime or maybe a particular system that they were running. So they were not able to agree on a particular vision to move Asian China forward. And that was the downside or the negative aspect of the feudal system that was created. Then we move straight to the achievements of the system. Now, during the Zhou dynasty, as I said, because of their military powers, they were able to introduce horse riding, which was made out of bronze and then iron. So that represents security, and then it represents military prowess. The next thing also was that they were able to develop, agriculture, and then economic development. They increased their yield, especially in the northern part of China. They were able to get more food. They had more lands to farm and more food to eat. Now, they also developed in communication. They improved their roads, tunnels, and then their transportation system. Trade increased. And the one great thing was the writing system of ancient China. It was able to develop very well. That talks about education and then intellectual development. And then last but not least, the incoming of Confucianism, which became a school or a system of thought among the ancient Chinese people, and then Taoism, which was both a mixture of the philosophy of Tao and then the religious aspects. All these things helped to develop their psyche or to develop their education and then their intellectual development. So in conclusion, all that had been talked about, the achievements and then the history of the Zhou dynasty. We have talked about their military and security development, agriculture, transportation and communication, trade and technology, educational, and then intellectual development. Thank you.
Yeah, this is about the Zhou dynasty, right? Also introduced the spring and the autumn warring stage. Yeah, after the Zhou dynasty, because China entered another stage, falling of many wars, different states, they fighted with each other, you have also your own understanding and explanation. They're great. Yeah, all that. Okay, let's continue our class. Here, sorry. Facing the invasion of Japan. The CCP and the Nationalist Party began to stage the cooperation. The importance of interrelated before external danger was forcefully brought home in 1936. When nationalist troops mutinied at Xi'an. Do you know Xi'an? Yeah, Xi'an. We mentioned several times. Xi'an is the capital of Shanxi province. And the mutineers forcibly detained Chiang Kai-shek for several days until he agreed to stay. We just mentioned now Red Army because mainly because of the made by Czech against the CCP. They escaped their homes, their camps, and walked 11 provinces to reach Shanxi. The Chinese resistance stiffened after July 7th. After July 1937, a clash occurred between Chinese and Japanese troops outside Beijing. Beijing near Marco Polo Bridge. In another word, it is the first conflict between Chinese and Japanese troops in 1937. This skirmish not only marked the beginning of open, though undeclared war between China and Japan, but also hastened the formal announcement of Kuomintang and CCP, united front against Japan. This is also the first formal cooperation between the two political parties. However, this uneasy alliance began to break down after late 1938, despite Japan's steady territory gains in northern China, the coastal regions, the rich Yangtze River Valley in central China. After 1940, conflicts between the nationalists became more frequent, not under Japanese control. After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, the United States declared war on Japan on December 8, 1941. During the event, the reason about the event of Pearl Harbor because Japan attacked the Pearl Harbor first. And on December 9th, the Chinese national government officially declared war on Germany, Italy, and Japan. And on New Year's Day, 1942, 26 countries, including the United States, Britain, the Soviet Union, and China, issued the United Nations Joint Declaration determined to defeat Germany, Italy, and Japan together. So the resistance war against Japan became the part of the Second World War. The Second World War. Here is about the scenes from the Japanese attacked on Pearl Harbor. Since then, China no longer had to fight against Japan alone, and the war of resistance against Japan officially became part of the Second World War. And the war with Japan entered the counterattack stage, which means Japan became weaker and weaker. And China became stronger and got the opportunity to get the victory at last. On August 15th, 1945, Japan announced unconditional surrender. Because a lot of support from international such as America and Soviet Union, So China fought success in this war. On August 15th, 1945, Japan announced unconditional surrender. Here is a picture. Is about Japan was submitting the surrender document. Surrender document. On September 2nd, Japan officially signed the surrender agreement. So after 40 years of hard work, this war lasted for almost 4 years, from 1937. The Chinese finally won the great victory of the war of resistance against Japan, which was also part of the Second World War. The Second World War. After the victory of the war of resistance against Japan, Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao, Zhou Enlai, and other Communist Party leaders went to Chongqing to conduct peace negotiations with the Nationalist Party. Negotiations with Chiang Kai-shek. In order to avoid the war of liberation and achieve domestic peace. So, for country, for peaceful nation building, These negotiations lasted 43 days. More than 1 month, 43 days. The two sides, one side is Nationalist Party. The representative is Chiang Kai-shek. Another side is Communist Party. The representing figure is Mao Zedong. And the two sides signed the October agreement. So that's it was also called the October 10th Agreement. And on January 10th, 1946, the Nationalist Party and the Communist Party also signed the Armistice Agreement. Armistice Agreement. However, in June of that same year, Chiang Kai-shek broke the agreement by communist army to attack all the liberated areas. So another war. The war of liberation, also you can represent it as the Civil War. The Civil War officially broke out. At the outbreak of the war, the Kuomintang government had more than 4.3 million troops, which controlled all of the big cities in China, and received many military and financial from America. From America. Regarding why to share the national people China, to become a strong alliance, strong alliance, and the stabilizing forces post-war East Asia. So this is the first purpose of America. Why did it to help 国民党 to help 国民党? As the conflict between the nationalists and the communists intensified, however, the United States sought unsuccessfully to reconcile the rival forces for a more effective anti-Japanese war effort. So realizing that American efforts, short of large-scale armed intervention, could not stop the war, American withdrawal, the American mission headed by General George Marshall in 1947. By late 1948, the nationalist position was bleak. The demoralized and undisciplined nationalist troops proved no match for the People's Liberation Army. It is abbreviated to PLA, and the PLA was developed from the Red Army. You know the Red Army? At first, China Mao built this Red Army to fight with military led by counterattack. And here, as the growing up of the Red Army, this army will change the name to People's Liberation Army. In January 1949, Beijing is Beijing. Beijing was taken by the communists without surviving, and its name changed back to Beijing. Because Beijing means how to say, hope this place, peace and safe, peace and safe, 平安 safe, safe. So why it was called Beijing? But in 1949, its name was changed back to Beijing. Between April and November in 1949, major cities passed from nationalist party to communist control with minimal resistance. So at last, Chiang Kai-shek and a few 100,000 nationalist troops fled from mainland to the island of Taiwan. And there remained only isolated pockets of resistance. In December 1949, Chiang Kai-shek proclaimed Taipei as a temporary capital of China. Established another region in Taiwan, and with the support of America. So that's why Taiwan has not returned to China today. Next part, after the War of Liberation, next is the establishment People's Republic of China, the new China. The first plenary session of Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference was held in Beiping. At that time, it was still called Beiping. From September 21st to 30th. The meeting decided that the name would be the People's Republic of China. It is also the formal name of New China. Yes, PRC. And the 80-year format was adopted. The March of Volunteers was chosen as the national anthem. National anthem. March of Volunteers. And the 5-star red flag was used as the national flag. National. Do you know the meaning? The meanings of these 5 stars? Yes. This is biggest star representing CCP. This biggest part. This biggest star representing the leading part CCP. And this 4 stars representing 4 classes, including farmers, common people. And a monument to people's heroes was to be built in front Tiananmen Square. This is the second picture you can see here. The second picture is Tiananmen Square. And in the gate, in the middle of the gate, is the image of Chairman Mao. Mao Zedong. And the first picture is about this monument to people's heroes, to memorialize the people died in the war. And the council elected Mao Zedong as the chairman of the Central People's Government of the People's Republic of China. Also elected the Central People's Government Committee and the CPPCC National Committee. On October 1st, 1949, the People's China was formally established. So the October 1st is our national day. Is our national day because on this day, a new China was established. And during the October 1st, we always have 7 days, 7 days holidays, the national holiday. The national capital at Beijing, Beijing. This picture is about the sun. Is about the sun. October. Chairman declared the Chinese people have stood up. Have stood up because in the past, many Western countries brought a lot of disasters and miseries for Chinese people. And from here, Chinese stood up, and they how to say, 驱赶. Yeah, they chased away. They chased away Western country from China. And China became an independent country in the world. So the founding of the People's Republic of China marks the modern practice of colonialism, and semi-feudalism in the old China. Feudalism, feudalism and colonialism refers to Western countries, country in China. And China's history started a new chapter and truly became an independent country. So Chinese people have risen up since then. And the government, people also treated in the Guangzhou military academy. Took that as a beginning of administrative council. After the establishment of New China, by October 1960, China officially established domestic relations with 17 countries, including Soviet Union, and Indonesia, creating a favorable external environment for restoring its economic growth. In December 1953, the Premier Zhou Enlai met with an India delegation. He first proposed the 5 principles for dealing with the relations. And these 5 principles including mutual respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, mutual non-aggression. This is the first point. The second is about non-interference in each other's internal affairs. The third is about equality. The fourth is mutual benefit. The fifth is peaceful coexistence. This is about the 5 principles proposed by Zhou Enlai to deal with relations with other countries. And in June 1944, Zhou Enlai visited India and Myanmar and formally advocated these 5 principles as the basic norms of international relations. International. And here is a great event. UN General Assembly restored the legitimate rights of the People's Republic of China in the UN. And restored its permanent seat on the Security Council. So this is about the achievement in diplomacy brought by China after the establishment of China. Okay, here is about a brief introduction about the development of Chinese history. And it is also the last class about this course. Thank you for your listening, especially and every time you come to classroom for listening class. Thanks. Okay. See you. Bye bye. And please bring your homework before the 30th. Okay, before the 30th June. Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Guys, our class is over. Okay, thank you for listening. Please remember, send your homework for me before the 30th June. Okay, bye bye.
Okay, thank you, teacher.